George Robertson, can we bring you in? You are going to come in, George. Great to see you, George. Welcome. For those of you who don't know, and I'm sure none of you do not know, but George Robertson, besides everything else in an illustrious career, was Secretary General of NATO, 1999, 2004. George, you were on the conversation yesterday, as well as so many other people were, around the National Preparedness Commission event. You have posted up here, why is it that military can be deployed in crisis situations and do it so well? Because they exercise on demanding and dynamic scenarios and rehearse relentlessly. Can I add a component to that? But they also deploy regularly. They have deployment experience. And however much you exercise and train and exercise and do simulations, it's never the same as running your moves for real. And I think that, if we are able to sort of create an all threats, all hazards capability that sort of says, whatever happens, get out there, run your moves, do your stuff, that will be worthwhile. That would add value to just a pure training and exercising scenario. George, it's a pleasure to have you here. Please, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much. I didn't intend to come in today. I've just been fascinated by the discussion, and as I was by the whole process on the select committee, which was a real eye opener, I must say, to anybody who's interested in national security, to see how vulnerable as a society we are, and yet to realise that in a way we're probably better prepared than many other countries are. So, I sort of tried to draw a few lessons from. I was also Secretary of State for Defence up until 1999. So I saw the military at close range, and the reason that they do so well in crisis situations, I said in what I posted just now, and erroneously did it only to the panel, being unused to these things, was, if you take the foot and mouth crisis, floods on a regular basis, the collapse of the security arrangements before the London Olympics, the military are brought in, usually late in the day, also at very short notice, but they can do it well. They do it because they're endlessly involved in exercises and rehearsals. The exercises, though, are not simply rehearsals of what you might do. They are dynamic, so there are elements and key elements there inserting into the exercises almost malicious thinking, in order to make sure that you're not going to be surprised. And I did one after I was in NATO for the Allied Rapid Reaction Corps in Germany, where it was quite astonishing, the degree of malice involved in the scenario planners, inserting it into, but demanding changes there. So that's why it's done. And I was quite stunned, I have to say, as an individual, when I learned that in the financial crisis of 2008, there had been no exercises done involving all of the different partners in Britain's financial system, the Treasury, the Financial Services Authority, as it was then, the Bank of England. So they go into it nakedly because they're all petrified that if you do an exercise, it'll be seen as being a prediction of disaster. So exercising, is good intrinsically, and it's absolutely essential if you're going to be able to handle the kind of random disasters that we've been talking about here, and as we looked at during the select committee, which James handled with incredible expertise.
Thank you, George. Can I ask you a question, a technical question? Just like we need to differentiate between emergency response and crisis management, and people often mix those up, I think there has to be a differentiation between training, exercising, testing, and validation. But that is a long process. There's no point testing people and putting those malicious things in if they haven't created the capabilities beforehand, which again is part of long-term engagement, paying forward, investing in capability development. Do you see that we have, because one of the things we spoke about yesterday was trying to get from flash to bang and trying to have an impact and things that can be sustainable. Do you think that we have the framework in place right now, or are we moving towards it that would allow those national level capabilities to be developed in a way that would stand up to the challenges we're facing?
Well, we shouldn't let the best be the enemy of the good. I think we need to incrementally move forward, because as Operation Cygnus showed in 2016, you can actually run a major, substantial nationwide exercise and then get very little out of it. So I think there are essential capabilities that exist at the present moment, but much more needs to be done. And I think our select committee report shows exactly where it is. And James has just articulated, I won't go over it, but the lack of an opening up, the incredible secrecy that's sort of involved in that, the lack of an awareness of cascading, and the domination of groupthink, they all exist at the moment and need to be remedied. I think that maybe answers the question you put about the capabilities being there. We'll have to build them up piece by piece. And as I say, don't let the best be the enemy of the good.